investing another $50 million into the clubhouse and waterfalls, and prior to replacing that portion of the facility that had fallen into the ocean before the turn of the century.
Hello there, and welcome to the Golf
Originally
Club.
designed by
John.
Pete Dye and named
We're
Ocean
starting
Trails,
off at the par 4.
the course was scheduled to open in 1999. On June 2nd, 1999, just before the opening, the 18th hole decided to take a dip in the Pacific. For the next several years, the course played as a 15-hole facility. In 2002, Trump, or more likely one of the entities in which he has a partial
Pretty
interest,
deep stuff
acquired
here.
the project.
Give it a good
In
hack.
2005,
in the right
after
direction.
the aforementioned improvements, the course reopened with much fanfare. How surprising for a Trump project, with those involved suggesting the course to be superior to Pebble Beach. Nice try, but no. Round 6, Trump National, Los Angeles. Course rank, 31. Date played, July 21, 2010. Starting time, 2:30 p.m. Weather, 70 degrees, cloudy and foggy, light wind. My score, 77. I shot even par 35 on the back 9. Number of lost balls, 3. Highlights, 2 birdies and 10 pars. Lowlights, 2 double bogeys. Excuse for not breaking 80? None needed. I played well with unbelievable putting. I doubt I would break 80 if I played this venue again. Greens fee, $174.93. Lots of city taxes on a $160 twilight rate. Regular greens fees
and now
are
that we're back on the
$275.
fairway, let's take a look at
Playing partners,
hitting this
Joe
green.
Strong. We were joined by Rich, retired finance guy from Raytheon, and Isaac, dentist. Good guys. We spent several hours after the round drinking beer and eating off the bar menu. Practice facilities, very expansive driving range. Short game practice areas seemed a bit limited. My rating, 8 for the excellent ocean views. But perhaps I am rating it so high because I played so well. Absolutely must play? For indexes below 10, yes. Above 10, no. The course is so tricked up with Target Golf Essential that the higher handicap players are going to find little to like about the layout. My partners are all frustrated by the time they reach the 3rd hole. On the other hand, if you like Pete Dye designs and want a challenge, this course fits the bill. Favorite hole.
Okay,
if you spend
nice
most of the
hole
round
here.
in the fairways, there are a
fairway.
lot of holes to like. Number 1 was my favorite. A short par 4, 314 yards from the blues, offers a sloping green fronted by a lake with a massive waterfall behind. This gives the illusion of an extremely narrow green and makes the 100-yard approach shot a real knee knocker. Number 9 is an unbelievably difficult par 4 with a partially blind tee shot to a 200-yard-plus second shot with a lake bordering the left side. Number 18 is also a spectacular finishing hole. Location characteristics. The property occupies one of the most valuable parcels of land on the West Coast. Trump National is situated on the Palos Verdes Peninsula in Los Angeles County. Terraced above the Pacific Ocean, all of the holes offer views along the coast. On clear days, you can see Catalina Island. Most of the holes run parallel to one another. There are environmentally sensitive areas along both sides of most fairways and barrancas that create challenge-forced carries to reach many of the fairways. It is virtually impossible to find balls that are not in the fairway or the adjoining 4-inch rough. This rough is extremely penal. I recommend taking your medicine and getting back on the fairway. The environmentally sensitive areas are played like a lateral hazard, so plan on penalty strokes aplenty. Among the local wildlife, there are Homo sapiens with their dogs traversing the coastal land adjoining the property. A city-mandated public access area is heavily used by local residents and is at times distracting. On several occasions, we were interrupted by talking and shouting from the walkers. Comments. Only the combination of Pete Dye, Donald Trump, and Hollywood could come up with this course. I kept expecting a boat to come out from under the waterfall to the music from It's a Small World.
Okay, one under
the co-architect of the course, along with Dye, is listed as the Donald himself, though it struck me as more duck than Trump. The course was created on a site that typically would be too small for a championship design. As such, there are a number of short holes and many parallel fairways. From the whites, the distance is only 5,881 yards. To compensate, there is trouble on either side of most fairways. Others require 175-plus yards of carry to avoid trouble. The par 5s are extremely narrow,
Great
have lots of
contact.
bunkers
Nice
and
swing.
too much protection to reach into. The greens themselves offer unusually extreme undulation, with most having at least 3 tiers. If you can play
I'd
precision
say it
golf
looks like around
and have a strong short
145
game,
yards from
the
the
course
pin.
could yield a low score, but I believe most will need several rounds to figure it out. I was very lucky to score well. Trip summary. Ultimately, the experience was a little surreal. The dramatic clubhouse makes little sense, given that there is not a resort attached to the project, nor is there a Forbes 400 list of members. Due to the poor access, it is hard to imagine a lot of business activity at the facility. The staff was friendly and competent. The green fees were reasonable by Pacific Ocean front
Doesn't
standards.
look like it's on the fairway, but
The
it's
carts
all right.
had GPS on board, which was helpful. However, the scorecard feature was not working, and there were no pro tips.
I think you could probably
just
two-putt
the
from here.
yardages.
All right, 13
Some of the
footers here.
sprinkler heads had yardages. However, many were cracked or missing. The waterfall on 17 had been turned off, and the cart path in that area was closed. Golfers received a cheap plastic bag tag, but none of the accoutrements that often distinguish the really high-end facilities. On the whole, my feelings were conflicted. I was thrilled with the views and my scoring and enjoy really tough designs, but the course struck me as too difficult for the casual player, and I prefer not to have so many parallel fairways. While it is not Pebble Beach by any stretch, the course offers a good day
Perfect.
on the links. Go for the view, appreciate the challenging design, and bring
Sitting
lots
at
of golf
2
ball
under for the
and a
round.
good sense of humor.
All right, let's let her rip.
Chapter 13, Home Cooking. I seldom venture to Torrey Pines for golf, despite being located only 15 miles south of my home. The reasons are twofold. First, I have never quite figured out their reservation system, which provides benefits to City of San Diego residents. I am not in the city limits. Secondly, the courses north and south receive
Man, did you
very
ever
high
launch that.
utilization, such that a 5-hour round is not uncommon. This is a tourist-heavy facility, and while many players are not always low handicappers, most feel compelled to play
Okay,
the
we're looking
blue
at around
tees anyway.
170 yards here.
Parking can be an issue in the area, which necessitates long walks or bus rides when pro tournaments are played. Nevertheless, it is a great venue to watch the pros play. Further, the annual tournament tends to attract a very strong field. The 2008 U.S. Open was played on the South Course and will long be remembered as the year a one-legged Tiger Woods defeated sentimental favorite Rocco Mediate in a playoff. Although a municipal
Nice
facility,
swing.
the expansive course can be rigged to create sufficient difficulty to host the U.S. Open. The attraction of Torrey Pines is the dramatic Pacific Ocean frontage and surrounding canyons that make this property one of the most desirable on the West Coast. A camera is a must, and binoculars if they're active on Black's Beach, the nude beach situated down the cliffs from the golf course. The course is very playable for amateurs of every level, with only the most wayward of shots resulting in lost balls and penalty strokes. If the rough is up for the professional tournaments, you might consider a 4-caddy. Torrey Pines is also attractive because of the high percentage of perfect weather days. Other than the rainy season from January to March, you can almost always count on temperatures between 65 and 80
that'll keep
degrees
you at
with
2 under
low
for the
humidity
round.
and moderate ocean breezes. Round 7,
Okay, here
Torrey
we go.
Pines South. Course rank, 20. Date played, July 30, 2010. Starting time, 2 p.m. Weather, 65 degrees, overcast, slight wind from the west. My score, 81. Number of lost balls, 0. Highlights, 1 birdie and 9 pars. Lowlights, 2 double bogeys. Excuse for not breaking 80,
Heading
senility.
towards the beach here.
I accidentally
Not the
pulled
good
a 9-iron from my bag when the shot called for a 6-iron, costing me 1 stroke. Greens fee, gratis. I was treated to the round by Ray Adams, a local commercial real estate agent who had helped us acquire an investment property and received a decent commission in return. For non-residents, the greens fees are $183 during the week and $229 on Friday to Sunday. Twilight rates are $110 to $137, but the window for completing a twilight round is relatively small most of the year. For those lucky enough to be living in the city of San Diego,
Okay, so
the
that's
rates
going
are
to keep you at 2 under for the
$61
round.
to $76. Playing partners: Andy Laubach,
Coming
brother,
off a par
Joe
on the last
Strong,
one.
and Ray
Let's see what
Adams,
happens
who
here.
treated the group to the round. Practice facilities: below average. The driving range is a long walk from the starter and pro shop. If you need to hit balls, do so before checking in. The balls were poor, reduced distance design, and rock hard. There were not enough situations to accommodate all the golfers. The putting green, however, is quite expansive. My rating, 8.
I think you're heading into the
Torrey
cabbage on
Pines
this
is
one.
a municipal golf course. Given the location and notoriety, the facility
kinda
gets
in
excessive
some deep
play.
stuff.
To
This
its
is the
credit,
danger zone.
the maintenance staff does an excellent job keeping the course in good condition. Further, the setting is very attractive. Ocean views abound as the course meanders along the cliffs and across a variety of arroyos. However, there are a few holes that offer a wow factor. Absolutely must play? Yes. First, this is a U.S. Open course and has been the site of PGA events for many years, so you must respect the history. Secondly, San Diego is a terrific vacation destination, and Torrey Pines is the one must-play round in America's finest city. The South Course is more difficult and has the history, so be sure to play this one at least once. The North Course offers the same physical attributes, but not the same challenge. I would not come to San Diego solely
Looking at
for a
around
golf vacation. However, when
115
visiting,
or so yards
around here
in here,
is
I'd
worth
say.
the time and expense. Favorite hole? The course has a lot of good but not memorable holes. The signature hole is number 3, an elevated tee box hitting down to a par 3 with a terrific ocean view in the background. However, there is not much to the hole aside from the view. My favorite is number 13, a par 5 that goes down into a ravine on the second shot that requires a precise, largely blind third shot to an elevated, well-bunkered green. The day we played, the pin placement was back right, which is really tough. Number 18 is a par
Great
5 that
contact.
offers the only lake, more like a pond, on the course, protecting the green. Location characteristics: Torrey Pines is situated approximately 10 miles north of downtown San Diego.
And that'll keep you
The
at 2
location is
under for the round.
characterized by views of the Pacific Ocean and is situated amongst coastal canyons.
Okay, this is
There
hole
are a
number
couple of
7
Torrey
on the
Pines
tee.
left.
Let's do this.
Most of the trees are mature eucalyptus. Seabirds are constantly flying over, as are hang gliders and F-18s, or are they 14s, that take off from the Miramar Marine Corps Air Station to the east. The coastal setting is worth the price of admission. Comments. Torrey Pines is owned by the city of San Diego. The project was developed in 1957,
Heading for the
long before
green
land
here.
values would have made the property too expensive for anything but custom home development. As a city course, the facilities are a bit
35-footer.
dated, and there is a bureaucratic feel to the operation. The course that the public plays is a far cry from that which greets the pros each year, or what Tiger faced when he played on one leg in the 2008 U.S. Open. The Black Tees, not open to the public generally, play 7,628 yards. Our round was 1,000 yards shorter, with lower rough, wider fairways, and slower greens. I have played Torrey Pines after pro events, and can attest that the rough can be ridiculously difficult. The greens have subtle breaks, and at times can be very fast, especially with a downhill putt toward the ocean. Overall, it is a playable layout that should afford most golfers an opportunity for a few pars. Given the sea level, heavy air, wind, lush
Okay,
fairways,
so that's
and
going
many
to keep you
uphill
at
shots,
2 under
the
for
course
the
plays
round.
unusually long. I found myself hitting a lot of 3-woods and hybrids into the greens after a decent drive.
See what you can
The
do.
blue tees, if set up correctly, measure 7,051 yards and are only recommended for 0 to 5 indexes. I was amazed at how many groups were flailing away from these tees. The whites play plenty long. My playing partners all shot between 95 and 100, despite indexes of 11 to 16. They did this without losing balls or taking penalty strokes. Like so many places, the short game will make the biggest difference in your score. Lagging putts is critical, given
was
the
exceptional.
large greens. Trip summary. The round at Torrey Pines was enjoyable. The foursome was fun, and the caddies made for a most enjoyable walk, although this is one venue where I would not hire a looper. I was able to get away with a few wayward drives before finding my game late and shooting 38 on the backside. By the end, I had the greens figured out. As a result, I made a number of mid-range putts following good chips. Amazingly, I had no 3 putts on the day. The same could not be said for my playing partners. Despite the overcast weather, the views were great. The facility is not perfect, but it is unlikely you will go away disappointed. Chapter 14. Dodging a Bullet. Since beginning my quest 2 months ago, I eagerly have been awaiting Golf Magazine's 2010 Top 100 Courses You Can Play edition. Given current economic conditions and the overbuilt nature of golf courses, I was not expecting huge changes, but was worried 1 or 2 courses already played would drop off, or my travel plans could get screwed up. Last night, while working on more logistics, I noticed that my bookmark took me to the new 2010 article. My initial trepidation proved unfounded, as this year's list included only 7 new venues. Of those that dropped out, at least 2 have been closed, which was already going to make playing them problematic. I was very pleased to see that all of the courses played or scheduled to date are still on the list. As an added bonus, one of the new courses, checking in at number 10, is Old MacDonald at Bandon Dunes. Since we scheduled a round on that course for our visit in September, it is essentially a freebie as I work through the list. Amazingly, Bandon Dunes now boasts numbers 1, 5, 10, and 15. Wow, are my expectations going to be difficult to meet? The 6 other new courses include one in the Chicago area, which is no problem, another one in Hawaii, always a decent place to vacation. Michigan, Arizona, and North Carolina should not be difficult given future trips. The only painful addition will be the trip now required to French Lick, Indiana. Falling off the list were courses in Nevada, Idaho, Maryland,
should be in the fairway,
Mississippi, Massachusetts, and South Carolina. Overall, I think it is a net positive.
And we are right
Chapter
around
15,
175
Rocky Mountain
yards
High.
out.
The 2010 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach played havoc with my annual trek to the golfing paradise located within the confines of 17 Mile Drive. I could have scheduled a trip, however, the intense interest in the golf course led the Pebble Beach Company to increase prices and limit their usual specials. Thriftiness would not allow me to pay full freight, so this year my wife and I had to make alternative arrangements. Ironically, our substitute trip would be cut short by a last-minute opportunity to play Pebble Beach, but more on that later. With plenty of alternatives, we opted for the rarefied air of Colorado. I had heard rumors about playing high-altitude golf, but nothing could prepare me for the thrill of hitting a golf ball as far as the pros. The highlight was a 380-yard drive, albeit downhill and downwind. We booked a great deal on a condominium in the Beaver Creek area of Vail that included a golf package at Red Sky Ranch. The location represented a decent base of operations for trekking out to Lakota Canyon, 1 hour west, and ultimately Redlands Mesa, 2+ hours west. The only negative was the aforementioned greens aeration at Broadmoor East, which was going to necessitate a return trip. Round 8, Red Sky Ranch, Norman. Course rank, 26. Date played, August 28, 2010. Starting
Very
time,
solid round
1:30
after 9.
p.m.
Looking fantastic.
Weather, mostly cloudy, scattered thunderstorms, 65 degrees.
Coming off a
My
par
score,
on the last one.
85.
Let's see what happens here.
Number of lost balls, 0, only because I kept stepping on them in the hazards. Highlights, 1 birdie, 5 pars. Lowlights, 2 double bogeys. Excuse for not breaking 80. Excuses? I've got excuses. It started with the detour trying to get onto I-70, which put me behind schedule so I couldn't warm up. This was followed by the pro shop attendant directing me to the driving range to check in at the opposite end of where I was supposed to go, followed by what felt like a 20-minute drive from the guest clubhouse to the first hole. By the time I arrived, the group I was supposed to play with had taken off early. I was put behind 2 foursomes and not matched up, so play was excruciatingly slow. Of course, there was a good deal of wind and some rain, plus my system was not ready for the altitude. Throw in a very poor driving day, no course knowledge, and lightning-fast tricky greens, and the formula for a high round was in place. Greens fee, $175 as part of a stay and play package. Playing partners, none. Practice facility. They looked pretty decent, but I was too rushed to take advantage. My rating, 7+. The course was decent, but lacked any wow factor. Many of the holes seemed redundant. Absolutely must play. With outside influences negatively impacting my experience, I would have to say no. I gave the course a second chance 2 days later, but still was not enamored. However, high-altitude golf is good for the ego, and the accommodations were great. Favorite hole? Most of the holes are good, and some are very good. I liked number 18, a 573-yard downhill dogleg left that would be difficult to reach into for most golfers and is protected in front by a creek. However, I think my favorite was 16. This hole is a downhill 230-yard par 3 with a left-to-right sloping green. I put a 4-iron 15 feet past the hole and sank the putt. Location characteristics. There are great vistas from many holes.
Looks like this is a beauty.
This course is situated in the Rocky Mountains at around 8,000 feet. Most of the holes traverse across the mountains, with the most northerly offering great views.
For the round.
The development includes 2 championship courses, which alternate as the members or guest courses every other day. There are also 2 clubhouses, one exclusively for members. It is a 5-minute golf cart ride to number 1 on the Norman course from the visitors' clubhouse. The setting is attractive and no doubt accounts for the high rating. The ball carries very well at this altitude. Comments? In retrospect, I was a bit disappointed with the experience. Granted, the weather was not great. Ultimately, there were few memorable holes and too many were similar. Most of the holes run east-west along the hillside. As a result, balls are prone to significant sideway movement down the hills. What this means is that all tee shots and approaches must be played to the uphill side of the target. For someone with a general left-to-right ball flight like me, it often involved even greater uphill lines. Finally, the prevailing wind was generally down the hillside, further exacerbating the movement. It was laughable at times when approach shots would bounce 10 yards to the uphill side of the green and would kick back across. Virtually every putt broke in the direction of Interstate 70, below the course. Lightning-quick greens make 3 putts inevitable, although they roll true. Ultimately, there were some good holes, but many that were largely forgettable. Holes 11, 13, 14, and 15 seemed to be the same hole, with slightly different yardages. Fortunately, the course is bailed out with a great finish on numbers 16 to 18. Red Sky Ranch was in excellent condition with first-class facilities. It is not just a course that suits my eye. I will probably return someday, but for a top 30 layout,
we have a 27-footer from here to the cup.
Round 9. The Golf Club at Redlands Mesa. Course rank, 94. Date played, August 29th, 2010. Starting time, 1:30 p.m. Weather, 85 degrees, cloudy skies, some drizzle, and scattered thunder showers with wind gusts to 30 miles an hour. My score, 86. Number of lost balls, 0. Highlights, 6 pars.
And that'll keep you at 3 under for the round.
Excuse for not breaking 80. The wind gusts did not help, but I
Number
do
12,
not ever recall having putted so poorly.
Hole coming up.
Probably selective memory. I had my first 4-putt green in at least 5 years, plus 4 3-putts. Greens fees, $105. Playing partners. I started solo, but after 6 holes, joined up with a nice couple from Denver. Practice facilities. The limited facilities were fairly typical for a municipal facility, and range balls were included in the greens fees. My rating, 8+. Similar to municipal golf courses, the condition and the facilities were average, but I love the course layout. Jim Eng did a terrific job designing this course with great elevations and shots through canyons. Hours after the round, I could still remember every hole. I think I took more photographs on this course than any other played to date. This one is definitely underrated. Absolutely must play? Yes. If you love elevated tees, and I do, you will truly enjoy this design. Grand Junction is nothing to write home about, but it was worth the 2-hour detour to play this one, even with the wind. Favorite hole? Number 5, a devilish downhill par 5 that requires an iron off the tee to avoid going through the fairway on this dogleg right hole. The second shot must be a layup except for the longest hitters, as the pin is elevated above a hazard. The elevated green is on 2 levels. My shot that rolled back to the bottom level left me with an impossible first putt. Honorable mention goes to number 17, a 200-yard par 3 from a severely elevated tee box. Location characteristics. Grand Junction is situated in the high desert area of western Colorado, near the dramatic mesas that rise above the desert floor. Visitors are strongly urged to take the rim drive along the Colorado National Monument.
On the last one. Let's see what happens here.
The course is situated just below these landforms. Located about 4 hours west of Denver, it is not an easy trip, but offers great views along the way. The primary attractions are the dramatic views. Grand Junction is not a place I would want to spend a lot of time, owing to a miserable weather pattern that goes from freezing to hot and back to freezing in the blink of an eye. And let us not forget the difficult accessibility. Nevertheless, a short visit is worthwhile. Comments. During the summer, the temperatures can be warm in this area of the high desert, so be prepared. The views are amazing, and I could not get enough of the elevated tees. I strongly urge hiking up to the black tees about 160 on those elevated holes, as the vistas are nothing short of spectacular. The front side offers the highest elevations with several dramatic holes. The stretch of numbers 2 through 5 is extraordinary. Overall, the layout reminds me a bit of Wolf Creek in Mesquite, Nevada. Redlands Mesa falls slightly short of that venue, but I really enjoyed the round. The overall facilities are average, but the golf is exceptional. I am not sure I will ever be back in the area, but if I get close, you can bet I will give it another shot. Round 10, Lakota Canyon Ranch. Course rank, 73. Date played, August 31, 2010. Starting time, 9 a.m. Weather, 65 degrees, partly cloudy, mild wind. My score, 82. Number of lost balls, 3. Highlights, 1 birdie, 8 pars. Lowlights, 2 double bogeys. Excuse for not breaking 80? My decision to tin cup it on 18. I was convinced I could reach the blind green in 2 on this par 5. Wrong.
And that'll keep you at 3 under for the round.
$89 with the cart, plus $5 for range balls. Playing partners, none.
And
practice facilities,
now we find ourselves
below
on
average.
hole number
The conditions
14.
suggested possible financial problems. My rating, 7. The condition was below average for a top 100 facility with older carts, scruffy driving range balls, and a poorly maintained range. The rating could jump if some money were reinvested in this layout. Absolutely must play? No, but the front 9 has some terrific holes. Favorite hole? The par 5, number 4, is a great challenge. An elevated tee shot is followed by a tough layup before approaching an elevated green. Location characteristics. Lakota Canyon is situated high in the Rocky Mountains, just west of Glenwood Springs. The
Okay,
drive
so we
through
have about
Glenwood Canyon is
115
breathtaking.
yards.
There are plenty of
to
elevated
the pin.
tees with panoramic views down the mountains. The course includes several water features, tree-lined fairways, and large elevation changes, all making for a photogenic setting. Comments. Lakota Canyon was designed by the same golf course architect as the golf club at Redlands Mesa. Jim Eng has a gift for utilizing the natural terrain to create fantastic elevated tees. In particular, the front nine is exceptional, as are the final 3 holes. This course offers my favorite type of starting hole, a dogleg left, par 5, from an elevated tee box.
At 4
Number
under
2
for the round.
is benign, but then the elevation takes over. The finishing 3 holes are really tough,
15th
especially
hole
18,
coming up,
which requires a precise drive, a strong layup, and an excellent approach. The hole tempts the long hitter to go for it in 2, although the visibility of the green is limited and there are hazards on all sides. The course, built in 2000, appears to have originally been designed as the focal point of a proposed residential community. While some homes have been constructed, it now appears to have come to a standstill. The carts are older and need to be replaced. The clubhouse is a temporary facility, and the grounds show some signs of stress. Trip summary. In addition to the amazing mountain setting and terrific condo, the Vail area is also known for its high-quality cuisine. Ultimately, my favorite meal during the Top 100 tour took place at Zeno Ristorante, located close to Beaver Creek. The overall quality of our vacation in Colorado was first-rate and attractively priced relative to other resort communities. The golf was good but not great, although some of the holes were spectacular. The 15% distance premium on my golf shots was an added bonus. The Denver area is easily accessible from most areas of the country, as it serves as a hub for a number of carriers. As such, direct flights are plentiful and the cost is reasonable.
16th hole coming up here.
Golf season
Let us
is
see what
great
you
in
can
the Vail
do.
area, with plenty of other outdoor activities for the non-golfer. Although I did not love the golf, I will be returning. Hopefully Zeno will still be serving the seafood capellini. The Colorado trip was cut short as my brother successfully bid on CharityBuzz.com and won a twosome for the Pro-Am at the First Tee Open to be held at Pebble Beach. I could not resist the opportunity to leave the mile-high city and make my way to the Monterey Peninsula.
Ugh. Okay, so you're in the rough here. I'm not going to lie.
Chapter 16. Back to reality. Coming off a golfer's high in Pebble Beach, it was probably unfair to move so quickly back to the rat race of golfing the Top 100. After the Colorado Whirlwind, coupled with the Pebble Beach First Tee Open, it would be nearly impossible to evaluate another venue fairly. Because we were in the area, however, and had missed the cut on Sunday, my brother and I decided to kill time before our flight back to San Diego. Fortunately, Pasatiempo is situated more or less along the route to the San Jose airport. I had heard great things about this Alistair Mackenzie design, which harkens back to the classic golf course architecture of the golden age of 220-yard drives and non-technologically enhanced equipment. Built in the year of the great stock market crash, it still has a roaring 20s feel. Because of the age and changing equipment,
I'd say
the course has
140-ish yards
undergone
from here.
several redesigns to lengthen the layout. In fact, according to our playing partner, they are working with Tom Doak on another redesign. I am not sure they need it. Round 11, Pasatiempo. Course rank, 11. Date played, September 5, 2010. Starting time, 11:10 a.m. Weather, overcast with some fog and a mild breeze blowing off the Pacific. Temperature was 65 degrees. My score, 89. Number of lost balls,
on the green
3.
with some work to do.
Highlights,
for the
5
birdie
pars.
here.
Lowlights, 4 double bogeys, 1 triple bogey. Excuse for not breaking 80? The easy answer is that I was golfed out from the Pebble Beach event. However, as a true golf addict, I can never get enough. No, my mistake was allowing some senior citizen member to talk me into playing the championship tees. There is too much length, too many elevated greens, too many holes with the wind in your face, too many swales in the green, and too many challenges for an amateur like me to hope to break 80 from the back. And maybe I was a little mentally fatigued. Greens fees, $220 plus $30 cart fee. Playing partners, my brother Andy, Dave, member of the board and unofficial tour guide, and Will, member of the club. Practice facilities, decent putting green and chipping area. The driving range is not
And that'll
located
keep
with the
you
rest of
at
the
5
practice
under for the
facilities
round.
and is accessed via a van that runs back and forth from the clubhouse. We did not have
Okay,
enough
let's
time
give
to
it a
hit
nice
balls.
big
My rating,
smash.
8. The course did not have the wow factor attributable to my favorite venues. Of course, I had played Pebble Beach the previous day. While the first hole supposedly offers an ocean view, fog hid this from our foursome. Other surroundings consist of older, single-family homes which detract from the visual appeal. The strength of the course lies in the subtle
amazing.
nature of the design. For high handicappers, it might be difficult to appreciate the value Mackenzie places on every shot. Most holes could yield pars, however,
Looks
each
like,
swing needs to
I'd
be
say around
above
110
average.
yards or so to the pin.
Absolutely must play? Yes. I think every avid golfer should take advantage of the classic courses. Unlike many of the tricked-up designs today, this golf course offers a comparable challenge based upon more subtle design features. There are no easy holes. Missing greens virtually assures a bogey. I will need to play the course again so I can see what it looks like from the fairways. Favorite hole? I like number 16, the number 1 handicap. The
Okay, I
blind
think you'll
tee
be
shot I
two-putting from
hit
here.
was perfect,
This
and my
is
approach
for
was
birdie.
pretty good. The flag, however, was stuck on the left side on a very small shelf, resulting in a 3-putt from 25 feet. Number 11 is great as well. However, it was quite expensive as I placed several shots in the ravine. I thought every hole had character, with the opening 3, including a 235-yard uphill par 3 to a well-protected green, being brutal. All the more reason to avoid the championship tees. Location characteristics? Pasatiempo is situated in the hills of Santa Cruz, about 30 miles outside of San Jose, on the way to the Monterey Peninsula. I would like to have seen more mature pines, although that would have led to a higher score.
Okay,
There was
so that'll
no
keep you at
significant
5
water on the
under for the
course,
round.
and the surrounding homes seemed uninspired. There are some distant
All right,
ocean
let's pop this
views
in the
when
fairway.
it is not overcast. Comments. The setting of Pasatiempo is not as dramatic as many of the top venues. The strength of the course lies in the inspired design of one of the great golf course architects. Mackenzie loved this course so much he lived for many years in a house bordering the 6th hole. The first 3 holes are likely to set the stage for a high-scoring day. The first 2
Solid
are
swing.
long par 4s into the wind with tricky greens. The third is a crazy par 3 that is virtually impossible to reach in regulation from the championship tees.
All right.
The par 70 layout
we're right
gets
around
easier
165
after the
yards
start.
out.
However, it will bite you again right after you make the turn. Holes 10 and 11 are good for at least one double bogey. The finishing hole is a dramatic downhill par 3. Avoid the front left bunker. For the golf addict, Pasatiempo is well worth the trip. For the golf historian, it is a must. While there, I strongly recommend you try the Burger Dog at the drive-thru snack bar after the front 9. Trip summary. Pasatiempo is easy to schedule if you're making the trek to the Monterey Peninsula. I recommend adding this course to your itinerary, time permitting. In fact, the Cordoval Resort is
Nice.
also situated
And we
within
have a
close
27
proximity
footer
and can
from here to the
easily
cup.
be included in a trip with the Monterey Triumvirate. This is a great once-in-a-lifetime vacation that should not be missed by any golfing fool. Aside from the cost, and it is pricey, there is nothing to match the Northern California golf experience. While I would have preferred a more pastoral setting for Pasatiempo, you should not miss this Mackenzie golf experience. Chapter 17, Managing Expectations, the Pea Soup Theory. In Buellton, California, there is a restaurant that is widely known for its pea soup. Few things sound less appealing than a bowl of liquid